UFC 317 is this weekend, and today, guys, I have the complete betting guide for you with timestamps if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, we're going to be going over the channel betting recap, confident picks, underdog opportunities, fights that I believe you should not be betting on, my personal lock of the week, and then we're going to close things out with the more unstructured part of the video, that being any props that are out right now and building some ridiculous parlays. Excuse me if you could hear that super cool guy in his super cool car right next to my window. Again, timestamps will be there if you'd like to skip to any part of the video. Let's get started with the channel betting recap for today. And guys, I am happy to say we had a nice little clean sweep. We had 2 official plays and then a fun parlay, but if you've been following the channel, you might know that the fun parlay is just something extra I throw $5 at every single weekend. It's a parlay. It makes things more fun to watch, right? And of course, for the fun parlay, we were killed like so many other people were by Oban Elliott to win, man. It's unfortunate, but what can you do? I was actually very, very surprised by that. I even went back and watched his opponent's fights, and nothing even stuck out to me. But hey, it was a great performance. Oban Elliott's still a great fighter, but a lot of people are already losing steam on the guy. But of course, we did end up hitting the other plays on the fun parlay. We had a single bet for Muhammad Naimov to win. Usually, I just bet on Muhammad Naimov. There's a few guys over here, and Gadzi Rabadinov is one of them. There are some guys, and what we're going to be talking about again is Joshua Van, that it's just worth it to throw money at him each time because they win so often, they fight so hard, and they are very good fighters. Muhammad Naimov is one of them. I thought it was a close fight. I thought Muhammad Naimov ended up getting the win. It was great there. And of course, we had a 2-fight parlay as well for Gadzi Rabadinov to win. I don't care who the opponent is, guys. This guy's so good that I'm going to keep betting on him. Plus, Kevin Lee's a little bit washed, and he was a massive, massive favorite, so I had to put him in with another. I had to put him in a parlay. I hate MMA parlays so much, but we had to build one for Gadzi Rabadinov. He was such a big favorite. And of course, we had Rafael Fiziev and Ignacio Bahamondes over 1.5 rounds. I loved this. I love when you have 2 insanely good, tough fighters. And I know that, like, Bahamondes, for example, has had his finishes, but both these guys were so tough. I was very confident that would go over 1.5 rounds. So I'm happy to say, man, another 2 bets, another 2 hit. And of course, I don't know if you want to conclude the fun parlay in that. Regardless, if you would like to see what I'm betting on each week, either that or just supporting the channel, you can check out the channel membership in the pinned comment description down below or right next to the subscribe button. It is very cheap compared to other channels, and every single Friday or Saturday morning, depending on whether or not I want to bet on Friday fights, I'll be posting a community members post along with a members only video explaining exactly what I'm doing with my money, my picks. So again, if you want to see that, or if you're just interested in supporting the channel, I'd appreciate that. Very cheap compared to other channels. Additionally, a tool that we use, OddsGym, if you'd like to discount to that, you can check that out in the links with the pinned comment description down below using code Clenbat. Now, long intro. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get into the confident picks for this card. And if you're interested in me diving as in-depth as possible to all of these fights, I did have a full card breakdown already out. So the first confident pick is going to be Janata Deniz. Alvin Hines is a guy that I've been watching in LFA for a little while, and he's one of those guys that kind of gets by on how big he is. I would imagine that this fight's going to remain on the feet, and Janata Deniz does have nice technique on the feet, and on top of that, Alvin Hines is a short notice replacement. I imagine that this is going to be a clear stand-up performance by Janata Deniz, but you do always have to worry about the heavyweight division, but Janata Deniz, I do think, should be winning this fight. Let's continue on to the next confident pick, guys, and let me know what you think about this one, okay? It's Terrence McKinney. This one is a little bit more of a gut feeling, but I do like the last performance that he had. I just don't see any danger in Vyacheslav Borshev. I don't think that he's going to chin Terrence McKinney, and I know he's had all the experience in the world. He has great heart, but we've seen him fade in fights. He's been incredibly inconsistent, and Terrence McKinney has spoke about, and his team has spoke about, really, really focusing on his training, fighting patiently, sticking to game plan. So I do have high hopes for them, although he has also been inconsistent. I don't think that Borshev is going to bring him any issues. Terrence McKinney is going to be my pick. I'm fairly confident in saying so. Continuing on to the next confident pick, it's going to be Renato Moicano. Guys, Renato Moicano has been on a little bit of a roll besides the Islam Makhachev loss. It's mostly because of the state of Beneil Dariush, in my opinion. If this was prime Beneil Dariush, I would actually pick him to mop the floor with Renato Moicano. The grappling is always there, and don't get me wrong, he can totally win this fight. The more I've been thinking about it, the more I look at them and actually envisioning them match up, and I'm like, I just don't see Beneil coming out on top. So the reason I'm saying that is because Beneil, of course, he's on a 2-fight skid against both Charles Oliveira and Arman Tsarukyan. Those are phenomenal fighters. They are and while Renato Moicano is good, this is a significant step down from what Beneil has been facing against. But I follow Beneil. I'm a fan of Beneil. He's been it seems like he's almost has his foot out the door. He doesn't know if his chin's holding up anymore. He doesn't know if his body can hold up anymore because he's still motivated and he still wants to be a champion. But he doesn't know if it's time to retire yet. He doesn't know if he can hang with the top guys anymore. I don't particularly like that mindset. On top of that, he is clearly past his prime at this point. So typically when I talk about that and I talk about like, I don't know if Beneil Dariush is all of there, I would put this in like the fights that you perhaps should avoid section. And you know what? Maybe I should have. But the more that I imagine these two going at it, the more I imagine Renato Moicano just being more motivated. While he's also 36 years old, he doesn't look past his prime like Beneil does. I just think that he's going to win. I think that he's going to win, but keep that in mind. Like, if Beneil is still all there, and the Beneil of old has been floored by two top contenders, then this guy should beat Renato Moicano. A prime Beneil Dariush, I believe, would beat any state of Renato Moicano, in my opinion. So, continuing on. Okay. All right, guys, okay? You have to hear me out on this one, okay? I have only seen, and I need to take a look at more fights from Jackson McVeigh. This is a short notice fight. It's Jackson McVeigh versus Cedricus Dumas, okay? This guy's 6-0. He seems to have a lot of potential. I haven't seen nearly enough of his fights to say, okay, this guy's going to be a problem in the UFC and this guy can take on Cedricus Dumas. But I am highly considering betting on him because Cedricus Dumas is so bad. I don't know how he scraped by wins. I talk about this on every single card. So when you're watching this video, please don't take any betting advice I'm giving you and just throw money on Jackson McVeigh. But I don't care who Cedricus Dumas is fighting. He's not good. He's not good. And Jackson McVeigh, there are some okay talent over at LFA, okay? I've only seen 2 fights of his in the LFA. That's very important to note. So don't take this as something like concrete that I'm saying. I just don't even need to pay too much attention to the matchup again. I know you have a fighter who has potential versus somebody who sucks. And Cedricus Dumas sucks. Jackson McVeigh is probably going to win this fight, okay? Sorry guys, had to do a little bit of a jump cut over here because I completely forgot to talk about my other confident pick, that being Alexandre Pantoja. The only chance that Kai Kara France has to win this fight is to catch Pantoja, and we've seen Pantoja cranked before. He has all of the durability in the world, all of the heart in the world. He has all the experience against better competition than Kai Kara France. He should steamroll Kai Kara France. I know people are talking about oh, Kai Kara France upset Steve Ursag, and he can change anything with those hands. I don't think that's going to happen to Pantoja. We got to wait for Father Time to catch up to Pantoja. It's a possibility with 35 years old, but I don't think it's going to happen yet. He hasn't shown any signs, and Pantoja, aside from the lock of the week, is my most confident pick on this card. Let's continue on, guys. Let's get back a little bit more serious to a few underdog opportunities that I have. There is some serious potential on this card, okay? These are not necessarily picks of mine. These are definitely not bets that I'm going to be making. It's just if the underdog ended up having a nice upset over here, it wouldn't shock me at all. The first one's Jack Hermanson. Jack Hermanson is a guy who is very sneaky, has all of the experience in the world. He has great cardio. He has a lot of experience, veteran tech against really good fighters. He's taking on Gregory Rodriguez, who I think is just a little bit out of the top 15. Well, I mean, he technically is. I don't believe that Gregory Rodriguez is ranked. Regardless, this exact same thing could happen. I know it's a 3-round fight, but look what happened with Joe Pyfer, for example. You have all this guy who is going to probably destroy Jack Hermanson. I think Joe Pyfer was a really, really big favorite on that card, and Jack Hermanson just kind of picked him apart. The same kind of thing could happen for Gregory Rodriguez, and I also worry about Gregory Rodriguez because in recent fights, we've seen him. He has that scar tissue over his eyebrow, and I don't remember what fight it happened in, but you remember that insane cut that he took? That opens up very easy, and that could steal rounds for his opponents. So, honestly, in a 3-round fight, if it gets damaged a little bit, you could steal a round. Jack Hermanson is a very capable and a very good fighter, and it was surprising to me that Gregory Rodriguez is the favorite moving forward. So, if he shocked the world there, it wouldn't shock me one bit. Let's continue on. Peyton Talbot. I believe Peyton Talbot's going to lose this fight. I think Felipe Lima, and I'm with the majority of the MMA community on this one, saying that Felipe Lima seems like he could be the real deal, and he is a bad matchup for Peyton Talbot, especially with the way that Peyton Talbot just lost against Ione Barcelos. But Peyton Talbot is a serious contender. He's a serious fighter, and to have him at the plus money that he's at right now, I've seen him above a 2-1 underdog. I think that's crazy for Peyton Talbot, okay? He's a fighter with magnificent potential. He's had one bad performance. Other than that, he's been flooring people in the UFC. You could look at those opponents and say, okay, maybe they were a little bit overhyped, but Peyton Talbot still has all the potential in the world. If you want to throw some money at Peyton Talbot, I don't blame you one bit, okay? And finally, my underdog opportunity, and because we have a channel membership, guys, I typically keep my bets silent, but I've been very open on this fact that I don't care who Joshua Van is fighting. I'm going to keep betting on him until I see him lose. And I ignore the Charles Johnson performance because He got caught, and he was on his way to winning a decision, okay? Joshua Van is a phenomenal fighter. The odds keep bouncing a little bit, but I got him at just over a 2-to-1 underdog. I already placed a bet on Joshua Van. I don't care who his opponent is. I know that Joshua Van is a phenomenal fighter with all of the heart in the world, great cardio, and he's a forever improving fighter every single time that we see him, to the point where I trust this guy to fight for my money. I'm just going to keep betting on him. I already bet on Joshua Van, and I understand that he could lose this fight because this is a massive step up in competition, and Brandon Royval is a phenomenal fighter. I think there's a very good possibility that Brandon Royval wins this fight. But Joshua Van has not disappointed me yet, so I'm going to keep betting on Joshua Van. To get him at plus money, that's crazy. An underdog opportunity that I am jumping on. And again, I typically keep my bets private because we do have a membership for that, but I've been very open about I'm always going to bet on Joshua Van. I'm always going to bet on Chepe Mariscal, and I'm likely going to bet on Muhammad Naimov. And there's a couple of guys out there that I just know is worth it to throw money at, okay? Joshua Van's one of those guys. I can't believe he's an underdog. No, that's not true. I can believe he's an underdog, but it's shocking to see that after all of the hype now and all of the great wins that he's had, that we're getting Joshua Van at underdog money. I'm hopping on this. I have hopped on this. Joshua Van is absolutely my favorite underdog opportunity. But keep in mind, it's a very close fight, okay? Look at the full card breakdown. I yapped about that fight for like 6 or 7 minutes, okay? Now, on the card, I only have one fight that I believe you should be avoiding. And let me know what you guys think about this one. It's Hyder Amel versus Jose Delgado. I just think both guys are really good. And both guys have been improving. Both guys are a little bit in the same spot of their careers. Both guys have been, essentially undefeated. Hyder Amel just put on a great performance, and it shocked me. I was underrating the guy, okay? But both these fighters, they've taken on good guys. They seem like the real deal. They're improving. I don't really know what's going to happen in this fight. For this one, and you know what I don't mind? I don't mind like an over 1.5 round on this line because you have two guys that are pretty tough. Especially with, Hyder Amel improving at the rate that he is and not necessarily having the finishing instinct. That's something that I would consider doing. But other than that, for a winner, I don't think it's a good idea to bet on this fight personally. And that's the only fight on this card that I believe you should be avoiding. I almost, something, you know what? I'll just mention it now. I should have talked about Ilia Topuira versus Charles Oliveira. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to include it in an underdog opportunity or a fight that you should avoid because Charles Oliveira is such a phenomenal fighter, guys. Ilia Topuria hasn't fought anybody with the submission capabilities. Don't Bryce Mitchell me. Charles Oliveira is different. I just don't know where to put that one, so I excluded it from the video there. Plus, Ilia Topuria just has been flooring everybody. I don't know. I don't know what to make of that one, so I didn't include it. But let's continue on over to Lock of the Week. The fighter on the entire card that I believe has the best chance of winning as close to 100% as you can get, and there should be no shock about it, it's Jacoby Smith. I understand he is a ridiculous favorite, but out of everybody on the card, I think he's just going to wipe the floor with Nico Price. You have Nico Price, who is out of his prime, got by on his toughness, versus Jacoby Smith, who seems to be not only a serious contender right now, but somebody who has the capabilities to start doing what he's doing to some ranked fighters one day. A little bit too early to tell, but Jacoby Smith is better than the level that Nico Price is on right now. There is no, I would be shocked. It would be one of the biggest upsets in recent history if Nico Price actually, dummied Jacoby Smith. Jacoby Smith should absolutely win this fight, and unfortunately, there's not a lot you can do right now with that. But guys, let's continue on again over to the next part of the video. It's a little bit of an unstructured piece where we take a look at any props that are available right now. So let's see. And you can see, just like we were talking about Jacoby Smith and Nico Price, over 1.5 on that is plus money. Nico Price is pretty tough. I'm kind of convincing myself, but there's no way. Absolutely not, okay? We have, Terrence McKinney versus Vyacheslav Borshev at plus money for over 1.52. I don't mind that at all. Borshev is a very, very tough guy with a lot of heart. At plus money? Actually, that's something that I would consider doing, to be honest with you. And Hyder, over 2.5 is only at minus 128. Excuse me if you could hear my notification there. But for over 2.5, I think these two are going to go at it. It's probably going to go to decision. So I actually don't really hate that for minus 128 at over 2.5. But I am a big guy of over 1.5 rounds. And Adam Moicano, Beneil Dariush. I don't hate the under for this one either, especially with Renato Moicano finishing people and Beneil Dariush getting finished. But again, this is a different level of competition over here. Oh my God. I forgot to talk about Kai Kara-France and Alexandre Pantoja. Alexandre Pantoja is a very confident pick of mine. Ignore that. We're going to just slice that into the video. We're going to slice that into video, do a little bit of an edit. I forgot to talk about that one, okay? But we also have Charles Oliveira, Ilia Topuria. Minus money for that. I don't know, man. I'm not too sold on that one. Joshua Van, Brandon Royval, they should go to a decision. Both guys are insanely tough. Gregor Rodriguez, Jack Hermanson, I don't mind that. Tracy Cortez, Viviana Araujo over 2.5 is minus 600. Yeah, that's absolutely going to go to a decision. But other than that, there's really nothing crazy to point out over there. Now, let's continue on over to the, again, more unstructured part of the video where we take a look at if there's any fun parlays that we can make over here. Nothing significant, but let's make some picks over here on the card, okay? So we have Betway open. This is it's nice and user-friendly, so I like using this, but I'm a Bet365 better at this point. So let's make some picks, okay? We're going to pick Janata Denise. We're going to pick Jacoby Smith. We're missing some fights on here, aren't we? We're missing some fights. But anyways, we're going to pick Felipe Lima, Terrence McKinney, Tracy Cortez, Nato Moicano, Jack Hermanson, Joshua Van. There's 2 Tracy Cortezes on here for some reason. And Alexandre Pantoja. And we're going to pick Ilia Topuira. Just like that. That is, you know what's crazy is I actually don't hate that. But definitely, that's in MMA parlays, something's bound to go wrong. Like I talked about at the beginning of the video with the betting recap. I made a parlay last week. And I hate doing that because this sport has so many upsets, okay? But what can we actually do on here, okay? I like Pantoja. He is probably outside of Jacoby Smith. Honestly, if you want Pantoja, get a little bit of a boost. Where's Jacoby Smith at? I actually don't hate that. I really don't. It's kind of like what I did with Gazi Rabadinov last time. When you have a fighter that's probably like the favorite is justified. If you want a little bit of a boost, I really don't hate that, to be honest with you. But for Pantoja, that's something that I would hit as is, to be honest with you. I like having the bets just as is. And you can see Joshua Van and Brandon Royval bouncing around constantly. Joshua Van, I ended up getting him at an underdog, and I have seen him more at an underdog than I have not, but that's been bouncing around all over the place. So look it out. Like, if you want to bet on Joshua Van or Brandon Royval, wait to see what they get with underdogs, because I think Brandon Royval opened up at a significant underdog, which was crazy. But other than that, like, there's a lot of things that I personally would just hit as is. You could do something like a Janata Denise, depending on how confident you are in that, and Felipe Lima together to get over double your money. There's not a ton that I really see to work with over here, but let's pick in something my sister and I do every week is we put 10 cents on every single underdog to win, and with Nico Price there, might just end up leaving him out. Let's see what we can get for 0.10 cents. Sorry for the jump cut there, guys. It wasn't really working. But other than that, like, again, if you want something like plus 150, if you like Peyton Talb or Terrence McKinney and Felipe Lima together, you get over double your money there. So I don't hate any of that, but a lot of these I would just hit as is. This should be an okay card to bet on. I don't see, besides from a few particular fights, like there's a few of them that are really, really solid to predict and would be shocked if they ended up flipping on over the other way. But if you're interested in me talking about all of these fights together and breaking them down as much as we possibly can, check out the full card breakdown over here. I would love to have you over there. Thank you very much for watching the video, everybody. Take care, guys.